All right, hello, folks. It's Monday, pre-London Open session, Silver Bullet, and starting the next chapter of this whole series, phase two, phase two of this whole endeavor. Trading on an actual funded account that was passed last Friday, not Friday, but last week, Wednesday, I believe, and there we go. This is the first show of this account, the numbers. It's completely empty and clean account. Nothing was done on it yet. 50k balance, and that's how it looks like. That's what I'll be dealing with for now. Next goal, 1k payout. Um, and yeah, we'll see how it will go. Um, and I think we can go to the classic analysis at this moment, and all right. Well, Nasdaq. Nasdaq, after a long weekend holiday on Friday, NFP on Thursday last week. So let me take a look on the calendar. So Monday, 10 a.m. high impact news, ESM services PMI. That's an actual banter. Right on Monday. Tuesday, no news. Wednesday, FMC but minutes, so that's not as important. Thursday, 8:30 unemployment claims. That's a sweet one. And Friday, nothing. So rather light week. Rather light week when it comes to the news events. And we are technically in the summer doldrums, which can make us stay inside the range that we are currently in. So let's see how it goes. All right, and let's see what we have on the table for today. So on the daily chart, we are inside of this larger consolidation, larger range, just going sideways. Relative equal highs, relative equal lows. We are out the middle of the range. Pretty difficult to tell, like a very one-sided daily bias at this moment. I can't really find that at this moment. Traded to a deep discount, failed to take out those relative equal lows, ever since traded higher. And new week opening up right here, so that might be something to look, but I will annotate it on the lower time frame. 15-minute. Relative equal highs left since Asia, price dropped lower, and now we are trying to get back in side of this range. Having this inefficiency here on a 50-minute that's open and with liquidity, so that's like something I'll be interested in initially, I think. Clean level here, buy side. And let me annotate the new week opening up here, because due to the fact that we are inside of this consolidation, we could technically expect a lot of back and forth price action around this new week opening up. All right. These are the annotations for NQ. For now, let me go to MES. Daily chart. I gotta clear this out a little bit. Take off. So I believe there is a very nice pool of buy sell liquidity up there. That's something that I have on my mind. He is looking quite stronger near term. Exactly. So there is some buy sell liquidity up there. That's very smooth. And I'm having my eye on it. We respected the high of this alt new week opening up perfectly. So that's very, very nice little signature here on the hourly. 15-minute pretty much respecting that well too. And dropped into a busy since or from Asian session. Nice one here. Let me annotate the new week opening up for yes. All right. So we are in close proximity to that new week opening up here on ES. Way more closer than Nasdaq. So that's definitely an idea that we could see price draw up into near term. Gotta watch. Relatively close taken here. A lower low, a breaker that we worked off currently or so far. Return to breaker, trades higher. So expecting new week opening up and maybe higher towards the buy side at 7,610. Let's say that's something that I'll be potentially interested as the initial idea, initial draw for the week. All right, so I think I'm pretty much done with the annotations here for both ES and Nasdaq, favoring slightly higher, I believe. You have dollar index that's trading into a bearish, small little bearish for value gap in here, so that's interesting. What it will show. And now let me see potential SMT divergence. You have low, higher low, low, slightly but higher on Nasdaq too. Here, I mean, there it is. Low and lower low ES versus low and higher low Nasdaq in comparison, right? So SMT divergence on the lows, suggesting potential relative strength on the side of Nasdaq. And I guess we'll see, we'll watch, because the thing is, we have like a nice push higher here on NQ, and this right now looks like a perfect bull flag. So I would prefer to wait and see, to see this fade a little bit and maybe fail a little bit, and then maybe offer some bullish idea behind it, rather than going blindly on that idea. We have a 15-minute bullish fair value gap, a busy. So that's something I'll be watching. So this is kind of like something that we might see price draw up into on NQ, potentially. But yeah, the new week opening up near term seems to be like a reasonable idea to see price draw up into a bull flag. Let's see if it can fail initially to then maybe offer some continuation higher. I'll be watching this 15-minute BC also over top on that, and we'll see whether it offers anything whatsoever to send it higher or not. So yeah, I mean, this is the first session for the week. This is the first session after a holiday on Friday too. Meaning that I really don't want to be overzealous, unless it's obviously crystal clear. But right now, it's not necessarily that. I would say there are some clues that we could use and maybe get up there, but obviously it's not guaranteed or anything like that, and it's not as one-sided as I would like to be it. But that's at least something to watch. Plus, we have high impact news later today at 10 a.m. So 10 a.m. Silver Bullet might be the cream of the crop, the choice based on pure calendar, theoretically. So. But yeah, nonetheless, engineering a lot of buy sell liquidity here, near term, relative equal highs. right here. That's something that is looking very, very smooth. But again, for me to potentially work with this idea, I would require it to drop a little bit more first and then try to attack the buy side here. I'm not a fan of going long right here, right now, just because. And it truly feels a little bit overzealous to some degree, right? Yeah, we'll see, I guess. We'll see what we get. All right, looks like we are going to clear out those relative equal highs right away. Which can, as I said, I'm not a huge fan of that type of solution. But let's see. If that's the case, because we are taking that, and we formed a busy right here. And this is now very crucial and interesting to see and watch. Because if it's bullish, if it's going to go for that new week opening up, and we had this consolidation here, and now we are breaking higher, this 304 fair value gap should act as a breakaway gap and should not be closed. If it will be closed, that's problematic for upside near term, I would say. So I'm watching this fair value gap closely with the idea that it rather should not be closed at all. So it could act as a potential bullish institutional overflow entry drill, right? And then it would need to repel the price very quickly and send it higher. There's quite some range to that CB too. Some measure of SMT on the highs. ES made a higher high on the bodies. Nasdaq failed to make a higher high on the bodies, trading down into this inefficiency here. Again, as I said, I wouldn't like that. If it's really bullish, it should stay open. So let's see what it does. So yeah, I mean, we trade into it, but the body closed way up there. So I would permit that week, and I would still consider this as a breakaway gap. If it can bulk up and find a rally off of where it is right now. And that would be like a hypothetical long from here to the new week opening up low, consecutive encroachment may be high, something like this. Potentially. Alright, another attempt touching into this, and more important, consecutive encroachment of this week. So it should be rejecting it right now, right there, very quickly, and sending it higher right away. If it's indeed bullish at this particular moment. Which it definitely could be, right? Definitely could be. But yeah, consecutive encroachment of this week, leaving this inefficiency open with the bodies, no bodies inside of it, really. And that's good. And that's good, I would say. Very good reaction initially. So now I would say price should have no interest in coming back lower. It should leave this as it is and just start expansion. And just start expansion higher. I will annotate this consecutive encroachment of this week. Potential bullish order block. And let's see if it can fly from here. That's what I would expect though. But it's at this moment and at this situation where it really needs to perform. Any failure in here, any comeback and close inside of this fair value gap here makes it just low probability in my eyes, in my mind. So it would need to perform right away, or it's just not as good and quality idea anyway then. But yeah, I'm not engaging on this one. I'm just willing to taper it, watch and study. Again, I had a little bit of a break, long weekend, and yeah, the markets will be there later today and tomorrow, so no need to rush on some iffy ideas. Even if they look reasonable, I wouldn't like to see that. This candle coming back into this inefficiency, I wouldn't like that. And also see that lower quadrant of that premium array here, that inefficiency, we couldn't even close above that either. So that's not very convenient for near-term strength, I would say. So yeah, generally, let's see what it does at this moment or at this point. Small little bearish for value gap formed right there. Short-term low taken into this inefficiency, still not closed at the low, so left a little portion open. That's for sure. And having this inefficiency in here. So this would need to act as a potential bullish inversion for value gap. So close above it and then use it as bullish inversion to potentially send it higher. And this is this is something that I would personally like more. That would be like the hypothetical idea. It closed above it. So yeah, definitely if I wanted, I could utilize that as an idea. Mm. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't like to see that close here initially, even though it's close at the low of this inversion. It tapped into this basic, yes, but that's like, again, last chance for this to take off and actually sent price higher, left some relative highs, but still couldn't even close above this lower quadrant here, which is a little bit concerning, I would say, just a little bit. So let's see, because it's compressing here. Now, I mean, ES it's shooting higher already, so Nasdaq would be expected to follow that rather convincingly. So this down candle here at 318, that could become a bullish order block, I would say. So yeah, we went to the low, we went outside of this, and now I'm watching closely where the body will reside. I don't want to see any close below consecutive encroachment. If it does, I'm technically losing my interest near term. It did, so I'm not doing anything with it right now. Just waiting and willing to see how it will develop, but not necessarily being in a rush to take an entry just for the sake of taking an entry, while price isn't necessarily 100% convinced about what it wants to do here, looks like. So yeah, again, trading to that lower fair value gap here. I guess I can change the color to actually the normal fair value gap instead of the breakaway gap, because we already traded into it a few times. And yeah, that's like the line in the sand for the near term. This inversion fair value gap was technically interesting, technically nice. It failed to offer any resistance initially. It offered a little bit of support at the low, sent higher, then failed again a little bit. So I'll be watching this to become a potential inversion in the future, maybe. But yeah, ES made a higher high clearly with the body and wick. Nasdaq made a slightly higher high with the wick, but very slightly, and the body failed to make a higher high. So clearly some measure of heaviness is being shown on the highs, and we have a little bit of room on the downside. So I wouldn't be too surprised if we would see like a measure of a breakdown here. Let's see. We stayed below that inefficiency right here. So now it might act as a bearish inversion for value gap. I'll be watching that. We have quite of a sharp potential breaker on ES in. So that's something I'll be watching there. So yeah, I mean, currently this looks like Nasdaq is just stuck inside of this consolidation here, going sideways. And it looks like a larger bull flag. So I want to be rather careful with that. Sell liquidity resides clearly below this low. It traded up into this, acted as inversion. So theoretically, I could maybe consider this inversion and these relative equal lows as an idea on the downside. But my initial analysis didn't really state I want to be short. Therefore, I will just ignore that for now. Yeah, I mean, so technically taking out sales and liquidity here, and then if price would be able to climb above this bullish 304 fair value gap or bullish inversion fair value gap here at 313, that would constitute somewhat of an idea. That would be or should be more prompt to aim for that new week opening up low, I feel like. Hello, Mr. Money Glitch. I'm doing all right. Thanks for asking. How about you? Yes. I managed to pass the first evaluation last week, and today is the first day starting with the fresh new funded account that was passed throughout this series so far. So first success of this challenge, and yeah, next goal 1K payout off of this account. We'll see how it will go. All right, so we are tapping into this pool of sales and liquidity here near term. Yes, 3 a.m. lows are here. They are relatively equal, and we had some measure of a breaker here, so that's something to watch still. And these are 3 a.m. lows on NQ, so there is some measure of SMT currently on the lows. I don't want to pay too much mind to it at the moment, but that's something that I'm noting. It looks like it wants to trade a little bit lower here, I feel like. And if that's the case, that's fine. I will not mind that. Just watch and see so near term what it wants to do. Well, I wish you a good luck with that, my friend. And you got it. You got it. Sure, fair enough. Completely fair enough. All right, so we have a small little bearish for value gap right here with a volume imbalance. And this is something to watch. Yeah, I mean, near term, these lows looks, I mean, they look pretty sweet, pretty clean. But again, I don't think I want to pay too much attention to those. I mean, maybe that's near. I mean, near term, it favors. It looks like it's more favored at the moment to potentially draw down there. But at the same time, it feels a little bit sus. It feels a little bit sus. So I'll be just watching and willing to see what it wants to do. I'm more interested in return to that new week opening up than anything else. So let's see if this can act as a actually or potential bullish inversion for value gap. Nice rejection here near term, and we have these two inefficiencies right there. That if we could climb above them with strength here and energy, they could have been potentially used uh, to offer higher prices here. Let's see though. Nice close above this near term. So this could or should act as a bullish inversion for value gap then. And that offers a very solid risk to reward too. SMT on the lows couldn't reach the consecutive encroachment of that 15-minute busy. Yeah, any return to that seems to me quite interesting in terms of a potential long scenario. And using those lows as a potential bait. And don't offer those yet. Formed a busy overlapping partially with this inversion for value gap. And a bullish order block here potentially. So a big convergence of PD arrays here as for the discount. With near-term SMT on the lows. Yeah, I mean, assuming the new week opening up here is the draw, that sounds pretty damn logical. Let's see, because we are about to form another inefficiency here. Yeah, the volume balance only on the top. Another bullish for value gap. And those two potential inversions. Yeah, I mean, expecting a return into this inversion for value gap here is a little bit ambitious, I guess. Maybe institutional or French drill here would be more apt. Yeah, this is definitely more of an idea that I would like here near term. But yeah, again, we have ES making a slightly higher high. Nasdaq yet to prove it. All right, looks like a potential return is likely here. I'm generally curious whether we would potentially, or whether we could see potentially one lower low, run on this low, and then come back above it and deliver. So I'm maybe not worried, but I'm thinking that this could be where it could, make this wicked run on this low here, because it's just very easy to do that, and it would do a little bit of damage. Here on the downside. So yeah, I would like to see how the first candle trades into this area in here. First 1-2 candles would be interesting. Whether they show an actual respect here or not, rather than just going in. All right, so we are kissing the high of that so far with no real ability to trade any lower. The body staying inside this higher one. So yeah, that could be like ideal case, ideal scenario, if it runs here. I don't think I would get filled though. I don't think I would have been filled on this one. But yeah, maybe I could still use this inversion here. All right, looks like it will be booming higher here. No matter what. So the NWOG is basically in place. And there might be some last chance type of entry around here and or high of this inversion, I believe, maybe if it will be offered. And this sounds interesting. All right, so looks like it's going actually. And it will actually go into that new week opening up. It offered this to the tick, and I wouldn't get filled there to the tick. Most likely, obviously, I don't know, but most likely I wouldn't. But that was like an idea. Then I was thinking either here or here as a potential inversion. But it didn't quite get me a return, a close end return into it as I was hoping for. Right here, it already went higher, took the buy side here. I wouldn't want to re-engage on those. Preferably, it should just expand quickly higher and just take off into that new week opening up. That's what I would expect, though, and I think I will leave it. I will leave it at that. So yeah, cute, interesting little session here, and I'll be back for the morning session later today. I'm quite interested in the PMI numbers at 10 a.m. So that might be interesting to watch and still study, taper this idea to potentially see trade up into this new week opening up. Potential institutional or French drill right here. I wouldn't like to see this closed, and sending it higher aggressively would be best case scenario, I think. Still a little bit of range offered potentially, so definitely interesting to watch and study. So yeah, nonetheless, thanks for watching. First stream after a little break, first stream on a found account. Not traded yet, but I'm certain there will be many more trades coming anyway. So yeah, see you AM session later today. Bye.